Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and we are doing a discussion over Moonrakers. This is going to be primarily, and by primarily I mean only, about the base game of Moonrakers. This one does have
a fair number of
mini expansion, Binding Ties, Nomad, and Overload. I have not played any of those, but like with Endless Winter, this game does have a solo variant, so I might play the solo variant and do mini reviews over that. So Moonrakers is by the same team that did Mythic Mischief.
Okay.
And the Veiled Fate, if you guys ever saw anything about that. It was
I played it.
You did play Veiled Fate? Okay. So they're a company that I think does really great production value.
Right.
And kind of unique games in
Super
their
unique
very
games.
small portfolio,
Right.
I guess. And with Moonrakers, this came out a few years back, and then the Titan Edition that went back on for a bunch of those mini expansions and kind of a really nice storage system for all of it. So I was intrigued, never fully went in on it, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, I think I'll give it a try.
Right.
At its core, it's a deck builder.
Yeah.
It's and the niche for it is it's a negotiation deck builder.
Right.
So what do you guys think of Moonrakers?
It's a deck builder. No, I'm kidding. It was engaging. The fact that it's, we're negotiating and we're working together most of the time to complete most of the objectives.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So we're all just trying to piece together what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Clever spin, and I think it works for the most part. My concern up front was that the negotiation part was just going to bog down. It's like,
yeah.
But I want that, but you don't want to give that up. And so should I just stay out of it, or maybe I just don't do it? And
Yeah.
But it didn't feel that way. I can see that being that way for some people.
100%. Yeah.
But it didn't feel that way when we were doing it. We had a couple of rounds.
Yeah, I think that kind of falls into whether your group likes negotiation or not.
And will negotiate, or...
Right.
Yeah, and when to do it. We've had the discussion of, like, how often do you go back and forth?
Right.
Like
set a time limit.
Like, they mentioned set a time limit. I've never, ever been in a situation where, like, someone just didn't drop it or didn't get the hint that it's like, no, there's nothing you can offer that I will help you. You're at 9 points.
Right.
Why would I help you win?
Yeah.
Well, what if I give you... No!
Right.
So I've never had, like, the instance of, like, we need to set a time limit. Cosmic Encounter just kind of has an innate one of, like, a minute or something to negotiate. But I agree. I think this one felt good whenever we had, like, the few instances of, like, negotiation. And I'm like, all I want is 2 points. You're using all of my ship parts here. I think that's fair, and you guys didn't take it. It's like, I get it. I mean, in a race to 10 prestige,
Right.
and I didn't even take any of the hazard. It's like, run that. You run that risk.
Right.
Zach, what do you think? Oh, sorry. Go
But
ahead.
there's enough variance in the objectives and in the
Yes.
things that can be achieved that help you along the lines.
Right.
That there is
Yeah.
a lot of opportunity for negotiations. It's not just about the points.
Exactly. Or even before negotiation, it's like, let's say it's like, I might do this bomber screen one. It's 3 points. Okay, you want all 3 points? Well, you know what? I'm going to pay a coin and actually jettison something to see if something comes out that's like, never mind, I don't need anyone's help.
Right.
I like that mitigation enough that if no one's, or what people are asking is too much, that you don't really want to risk it, you can try and do something yourself.
Yeah. The negotiation to deck building was different. It'll probably take me a couple more playthroughs for me to feel comfortable in what a negotiation value starts, like stream of value starts coming into play. Because things like we have dice that you don't know what the value that the hazards are going to be. So what value of somebody saying, well, it's worth 2 points. Is it worth 2 points to me for you to take that, or is it not?
Yeah. With the dice, it's also important to know what your what the opponents can do.
Right.
Like with the one where I had a lot of kind of hazard and damage mitigation, it's like, well, you can theoretically ignore all that.
Right. It was like with Brett that one time. It's like you can jump in on this for just 3 free coins. Like,
yeah,
you said you already can play 2 shields, so you're taking 1 die.
So you're coming in and just absorbing it from us.
What does it? I mean, other than the fact that you theoretically could hurt one of us by points, theoretically.
Yeah,
maybe.
But that's it. But then it's a maybe. So it's either I get 3 coins guaranteed, or I maybe hurt you.
Yeah.
That's true.
Or whenever it was just you two, because I think I was at 8 points, and you guys were trying to figure out, and I'm like, well, obviously they're not including me, even though I'd be able to help with all my stuff, but it's like, well, what's he gonna want? It's like, well, obviously I'm not going to jump in just for nothing, and so, I think...
Yeah, I was super, like, and the reason why actually at that time was Brett, I thought it was a red card, I didn't realize it was yellow.
Oh, that's right.
And so I was like, I just need one person to help me for the 1 gun.
That's right.
And that was it.
Because you had, you had to not play any damage.
Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, honestly, I had the cards to do it myself. I would have just done it by myself.
You just needed someone else to... Oh, yeah, like the thruster one I had.
Right.
Completed delivery without using thrusters. I'm like, anyone want to use thrusters?
Right. And so it was, again, for me, that was, to me, again, sleeve cards. I love sleeve cards in deck builders. I think it's important to do sleeve cards. Mm-hmm. But the colors, like orange and yellow, are such close colors.
In the printing.
In the blocks,
I think it's easy to tell.
In the blocks, it's fine. But in the printing, you get a little glare on it. And, I mean, I honestly just didn't pick up the card and, like, read it because I thought, oh, it's an orange card. It had a gun on it already.
Yeah.
I was like, perfect. I got this.
Right. And whenever they do a couple things.
Because I would have completed the other objective of completing a yellow by myself.
Oh.
If I had done it by myself.
Yeah.
So either way, I thought I was going to get a point because I thought it was red, but I could have completed it by myself and got a point extra.
Because I would have put you at 9.
Yeah. It wouldn't have won me the game, but it still would have been better.
Yeah, and I mean, because that's the thing about these negotiation games is obviously people who are negotiating aren't showing you their whole hand.
Right.
It's like, well, there's a reason I'm asking for someone to play thrusters.
Right.
Even though I had just said I have a sampler of a hand. It's like,
right.
well, why isn't he playing that? Because it's going to go away regardless.
It's like that one that I asked you, let's do a heavy damage one, because I had something that I do 5
That's
damage
true.
to his
Didn't
points.
even know that, yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I bought that card. Is like, I have a very good chance at some point of getting 5 damage and getting a point.
Overall, though, I think it's extremely balanced with the way the missions come out. Because my worry was it was going to be... It's a majority of contracts that are very difficult.
Right.
That no one is going to be able to really do on their own. I mean, not that it's impossible, but like this Admiral's flagship is 8 damage, 5 shield, 5 reactors. But if you're able to do that all on your own, you're probably winning.
Oh, yeah.
You probably are winning.
Yeah, you're getting 11 coins, a free card, and with all the 5 shields, you're rolling all 4 of the hazard dice, which theoretically could be 8 negative if you roll really bad.
Average is going to be 4.
4 or 5 with, and then you're playing 5 shields.
Right. And it's 5 points. So if you complete it by yourself, you're halfway to the end of the game. Mm-hmm. And at that point, if you were capable of doing that,
you probably won.
Because
you're not doing that at the beginning of the game.
Right. You'll probably win the game anyway.
But I do like that there are those missions that it's like, man, if I drew perfectly, I could do that by myself and just outright win. And if you pull it off, it's going to be really cool. It might be frustrating for the other players that it's like, or impressive. They might be like, holy shit, I did not think you were going to be able to do that.
Honestly, if you can pull 5 points out by yourself on that, I'm going to be semi-impressed because, like,
it's like,
sure,
that's
whatever,
some amazing
man.
deck building and
Do
luck.
it.
Yeah.
And luck, yeah.
But it's primarily there to be like, who wants to ally?
Yeah.
And I like that the ally isn't just like, I can contribute 1 card.
Right.
You get to contribute like your ship parts that don't specifically mention just you. Like all your cards, as if you're playing.
Right. So the thing I actually probably liked the best about the contribute was less to do. It was some of the times I wanted to do it to clean my hand, so I would get a better hand for my round where I got to pick a mission.
Yep, and they actually say there's like a helpful tips section, and then the how to play video they mention that.
Yeah.
Oh, just ally just to trash your hand.
Yes.
And hopefully have a better hand.
I
for your
did
next
at least
turn.
twice to basically say like I can help, and it was mostly because I had 3 trash cards in my hand that weren't going to help.
Yep.
Anything that was currently out, and it was Seth's turn, so I knew mine was next.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll take a little, a slightly worse pot, but I get a new hand of cards.
Yeah. The other thing that I like about the deck building portion of this game, I'm curious if you, because like a lot of like deck builders that are pure deck builders, which this pretty much is.
Yeah, it's
instead of a market of cards to buy, you're going after contracts. But I like the fact that you don't really have a dead turn. I mean, you can by staying at base, but it's like
I think we each have one dead turn.
where you stayed at base.
Stay at base.
But I actually kind of like that because you still get a coin. You get to get rid of, mitigate the contractor, but also going after objectives is not bad. The fact that it does let you draw objectives and be like, okay, these are really hard for what I can do. Oh, have 8 credits at the end of your turn. Cool. They're all worth just 1 point, but they're also not stupidly unbalanced where it's
No.
They're all very achievable.
Yeah.
Over the normal
Like
course,
like you have the one that is have all allies participate in a mission.
right?
And succeed.
Well,
or fail.
again,
Still have it.
if you do that one, you're more than likely asking everybody. It doesn't look out of turn for you to ask everybody.
Yeah.
You can say, hey, you know what? You guys take 2 points. I'm going to take a large point of that coins or the extra card. Yeah. And then, boom, you get the extra point anyway.
Yeah.
And it's like...
You can do it in a way where it's like, how about you get 2 points, you get 1 point, I'll get the 3, or I'll get 2.
Right.
And then you're like, haha, 3-point swing. And it's like, oh, that was a lot.
Right. So...
Because I think a majority of my points, probably 4 of my 10 came from objectives.
Yeah.
None of us lost any points, though. Hazards, did we?
You did, didn't you?
Yeah, I lost one.
Yeah,
I did.
Which, again, if you roll the hazard and you're helping someone, there's nothing saying being like, oh, never mind, I'm actually not going to help.
Right.
Like, there was no reason for you to help him because you were just going to lose a point.
Well, yeah.
And the fact that you're not committed to be like, no, I have to play my cards if I want to. I do like that, especially with the one, the Saboteur. It's like, oh yeah, no, I'll absolutely help. Oh yeah, sorry, I actually don't have any of those cards.
Right.
Anyway, objective.
Yeah.
Well, and that came up twice.
Yeah.
Again, through the normal game.
Right.
But that would have been nice to have that objective.
Now, question:
in my hand.
The one that we did fail, where we missed one thruster, did anyone actually have a thruster?
No.
Okay, so we legitimately failed that one, and just,
we
and just
legitimately
had an
failed it.
oversight.
Yeah, I did not intentionally fail any of
That
them.
felt bad.
If I had one, I had the actions to play it.
Yeah.
Like, I was not low on... I will say, again, some of it was the cards I got, and I got way more action helpers out here, where you got shit parts.
Yeah.
I was almost always like, I got so many actions, like, I'm never running out of actions. I'm running out of ways to draw cards or have enough shields to block stuff.
Well, that's the other thing that's kind of interesting about this game is you get one action.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I was worried that the game was going to feel stagnant, where it's like you're always playing a reactor first turn.
Right.
But I never really felt it was like that. Like, the card combos that you got felt...
So I felt like, I agree. Some of it I felt like, so you had that gave everyone extra action, all your allies. So that helped. I had 2 people, so there was one that gave me straight up another action, and I had this one that gave me 3 more actions.
God,
and I was like,
so gross.
And removes a reactor from it. And I'm like, just playing this card means I have 3 more actions without a reactor. Mm-hmm. You already start with 3 reactors. You probably have a reactor in your hand.
Yeah.
So there's 4 actions now.
Yeah. Or you go out and buy ship parts like this leech that as mission leader or ally you gain an extra gain +1 action for each ally, on top of it giving you 2 extra reactors.
Right.
The deck building of this game, while it might on first glance feel like, well, that's kind of basic.
Right.
And it might be like you're not doing extravagant combos, but I still felt like it was satisfying.
It was. Again, like a lot of these ones were, for me, deck building, there's still randomness. I would say it felt like the ship parts felt fairly balanced, so no ship parts felt over the top better. I will say some of these felt a little bit like, again, the 2, because I think I was the first one to start grabbing these. And these 2 that were off the top felt way better than anybody else's ones that they were playing.
I got 1 for free, and
Right.
that was it. I was wanting to specifically see. Well, one, my main objective was the first objective I got was get 4 ship parts and then replace one. I'm like, okay, well, that's just what I'm going to start doing.
Right.
And when I stayed at home or stayed at base the first time, the one I drew was have one of each type. Or those 4 types. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm just doing a ship build.
Right. And I wanted to see, because I wanted to build my deck, in essence, a little bit more.
Yeah.
And again, these 2 popped out. I was like, man, that's pretty... Because remove a requirement, which is already good. So basically it counts as 2 cards, but it's a wild for all practical purposes.
Yeah.
Draw a card and get an extra action. I'm like, for 4 coins, which again is expensive.
Yeah.
But it's not over the top.
It's not... The money isn't, like, tight where you're like... I can't do anything. But it's not so loose that you're able to...
Like, 4 coins is a lot.
Yeah.
But 3 is the average.
Yeah.
So...
Brett, what are you thinking?
About what?
Oh, it felt like you were kind of trying to chime in.
Yeah.
We kept talking.
No, just...
No?
Yeah,
Just-
going along with it.
Gotcha.
It was interesting, though, I mean, the different building aspects of building up the ship first, and now I totally understand why. But the other advantage of that is that they can help in every contract, whether or not it's even yours.
Yeah.
They can help everybody else.
Yeah, so not realizing that for a while in the game, definitely...
Whereas the more powerful
Wow,
cards you only get each time you go through your deck.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's why I think this game really does negotiation well, because you actually have negotiating power.
Right.
There's a lot of games where it's just like, well, what can we trade? Like, I feel like Cosmic Encounters negotiation is not amazing, because it's like, well, what's tangible? What can I trade?
Yeah.
You can't really trade anything here, but it's like, hey, if you allow me to be an ally, you'll get an extra action, you'll get an extra card, I can help mitigate damage.
Right.
Yeah, there was a point that you were clearly the most powerful, pretty early on in the game because you had your ship all full of buffers.
Right. And
then
that was
we're like-
situationally powerful.
And we're like, well, we got to include you, but we don't want to because, well, you were demanding points. And we're like, we don't want to give you points.
Right.
Okay, then we won't fight. We just gave up on the contract because we couldn't agree on terms, which is good for negotiations.
Yeah.
There
it's
should be
like
times that you just say, no, it's not worth it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that that's extremely valid. Like, I think we agreed way more than we didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially, like we said, how the contracts come out. It's like, okay, I want 2 points, and that's all I want. There's like 7 coins there. I don't want any of those.
Right.
We're using my cards and my ship.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're not wrong. Like that.
No, I agree.
I understand why you're, but it's like,
Totally agree with you and don't want to give it to you.
yeah, I agree. Anyway, I'm gonna stay at base.
Right.
It's like, damn. I think the ship parts and the crew are really cool.
Yeah.
Like what they do. And I don't believe there are like the same. There are similar crew cards that do the same stuff.
Yeah. For different types or.
But in terms of like ship parts, they're unique.
I think I came across a couple that matched.
Yeah, I thought I came across at least 1 or 2 that matched, because I think there was like, did someone else have a thruster or 1 less thruster requirement?
No, mine's ally. Nope.
No, but I think I saw one that wasn't thruster, but it might have been.
Well, I know there's one that's shield. I mean, there's
There's
definitely...
they're
Variants of the same.
They're variants of the same, because like I just went through. Oh, hey, you require 1 less shield, or 1 less damage, or 1 less reactor.
Right.
I mean, and that's a build in and of itself. If you have 4 ship parts that just negate all types of requirements, it's like.
But there are so many that's very unlikely.
Because it even just says requirements for reactors, so it's like you include me, I lower all that, which makes this just hey, damage.
Right, because I have one that requires 1 less thruster every single time.
Right.
So that means every thruster mission is now I shouldn't say significant. It's easier.
Yeah. I mean, that alone turns this one into a viable option just for you. Because
Right.
of how many actions you get and all the crew cards that you had.
Right.
That's a 3-point swing. That's like, well, doing that and the extra... and it sounds like it's very minor, but that 1 extra thruster requirement is like, that's kind of annoying. That takes away one of my actions.
The only
Well,
thing,
never mind.
So I will say what is interesting, and this is where I felt like I almost didn't get this when I went for the shield one instead, because I felt like thrusters are good. I want to play thrusters. It draws me card. Like, taking away... Like, he took away reactors, and this one took away thrusters. And I'm like, those are the 2 that I don't really want to take away.
Yeah.
I want to take away shields. I want to take away guns. I want to take away crew. Because reactors, again, give you more actions. Thrusters give you more cards, which just both give you more options in the game.
Yeah. One minor thing that might be kind of annoying, I think there was one point that it was like, I started to see the benefit of. They have, I don't have it because I didn't feel like it was necessary, but they actually have a negotiation board that you have like piece markers so you can keep track of who's getting what.
Right.
There was one mission we went on that I was like, okay, so wait,
Yeah,
who's
we had
getting
to-
what?
Yeah, wait, that adds up to more than we have.
Yeah. And whenever because I got the
What's the max players on this?
5.
See, with 5, I can see needing to keep track.
Yeah.
Yes.
With 3,
I will agree. I thought that would have been useful.
When I went to Gen Con, because I picked up some of the promo stuff, and he was like, I was like, is this everything off the Kickstarter? And he was like, yeah, except if you want the negotiation board. He's like, I'm gonna be honest, you're not gonna need it. What is that?
I forgot to.
Oh, I'm gonna get copyright struck.
Yeah.
They're gonna sue
Oh, no,
me.
it's
By
public
the
domain. I
Queen
just
of England. Well, I guess it's now king. so-
Silence the phone
That's true.
when we started talking.
Yeah, you're good. But yeah, so some people might find like the higher level contracts to be like, okay, so you want 2 points and the card, and then but also the dice.
Honestly, just grab a piece of paper and a pencil,
Yeah.
and you're good.
Yeah, you don't need to get the board unless you just want it to look nice.
Right. And again, because it happens so infrequently.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, at that point, grab a couple of these for points, grab a couple of these for coins.
Yeah.
Dish it out at the head, just put, like, poker, right? So it's out
That's
in front
yeah,
of
that
you.
is true.
And just say, if we succeed, that's your reward.
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, or if you want the tangible stuff, yeah, spread out money and then the dice, and then just remember how many points you're getting.
Right. Because, again, if you place it, like, keep all the stuff on your board, again, like poker, you have in the pot, which is not actually out there. It's in front of you until it's
Yeah.
all settled. And then your stuff that's behind.
That's
Easy
true.
to do.
That's
And
a way.
we could have done, like, I thought about that, like, when we started, it's like, it's one time. If this keeps
Yeah.
happening, we'll solve this.
Yeah.
But,
Do you guys have any negatives?
No, just another positive.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention also the damage.
yeah. The
The fact that it comes up before you actually play your cards.
Yes.
That's wonderful, because most of them are, and I hope, at the
Right.
very end.
And luckily, it's also not super punishing. I mean,
Right.
it can be if you don't have a way to deal with it and you happen to roll the 2, and it's like, oh, so I'm involved in this and I'm not getting anything. I'm actually losing 2 points
Yeah.
in a race to 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, 100% that you can be like, you know what? Yes, I will take all 4 dice for exchange of 4 points, and I roll all blanks, and the person who's like, are you fucking kidding me?
or early enough in the game, like, you try to hit heavier ones because it doesn't penalize you if you have 0 points.
You just waste an action.
You just waste
or
an
waste a
action.
turn.
Right. Negative for me, we kind of commented this earlier, I think, while we were actually in the game. I think over many plays, you're going to get a meta of when you stop or start very limiting helping players.
Yeah.
Like 7 points might be too late to stop
Yeah.
including people.
Because
Yeah.
it gets pretty easy to gain 2 or 3, even 3 points on one contract.
Especially at the end, because you already have enough cards.
Yeah.
You've probably built up an engine a little bit that I think that... and so again, in a game of negotiation with only to 10 points, I think that 7, definitely 8, but probably somewhere around 7, 6, 7, 8, you just stop helping people.
Yeah, and that's a negotiation thing. Like, the
Yeah.
best one is Cosmic Encounter that I can tie
Right.
it to, where it's like, when do I stop letting you ally with me?
Right.
Like, well, Cosmic, you can share a victory. This one, you actually can't. The way it works is if 2 players reach 10 prestige on the same turn, the tie is broken by the player with the highest net worth, which is calculated by value of ship parts, crew members, and their store credits.
Got it.
So you add up all your ship parts and then your crew, and then how much money, and whoever has
Right.
the most wins. I guess you could theoretically tie with that. But
Which in Cosmic Encounter, I mean, that it's solved by having it a group win, like a potential group win.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm going to win. You won't win?
Right.
We'll show the
You know
victory.
what?
The rest of those 7 players, screw them.
Right.
It's you and me to death.
And then they all start doing their abilities, and you're like, oh, we lost all of our points.
Right.
I don't know what happened.
And so, like, again, if it was shared victory, I could see it being more where you would help. But the minute it stops being shared victory, then negotiation falls out. And to me, if the whole thing about the game is, why is this game special? Well, it's negotiation. That's at least 30% of your game should stop being negotiation.
Well, yeah, I do agree with you. There is a point value where you do stop, but I will say, by the time we stopped negotiating, which in a 3-player game specifically, it was whoever was kind of in the lead, which made sense. It's like, okay, you're gonna stop including me. You do that in any other negotiated game, but I think the game was over by like the next 2 turns. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm at 7 points, 3 turns in, so now I'm not even playing the game to negotiate.
Right.
It was like everyone's decks were kind of at that point where it's like, I can probably do any of these contracts by myself. And the only reason I won was because, and I was sitting here, I'm like, knowing my luck, if Kat was in your position, she would have somehow jettisoned the 1 card I need, because she always takes, it's like, why would you do that one? I don't know, I just wanted to get rid of it. But yeah,
it's like what Seth did to me.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. It's like,
he knew he was doing it.
I happen to have the contract, and there was 1 kill contract that I could do by myself.
Right.
Other than that, I wouldn't have won. I would have just gotten the 1 point, and it would have been tied for 9. So the negotiation is still pretty much there the entire game.
Yeah, so I agree, but I think that was more of us not realizing how easy it was to get points.
Yeah.
I think if we had played this more, we would have stopped negotiating earlier. That's where my fear is. But that's what I'm saying, like at 7 point, like if 7 points is actually too late already to keep negotiating heavily. And maybe not.
I think it's player group more than anything. Like, because of the chance of you actually...
It also depends on how close everyone is.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if you're within 1 point of each other, then you're still going to be negotiating, trying to...
You're like, okay, we can
for
split
me,
points.
there's nothing I can offer, and there's not enough for me to gain.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm done.
And if you were second, like if it was kind of like if it was after me and you were going next, you probably would have been like, okay, yeah, like we can try this one now. I give myself more points, so you're not that far behind.
Right.
And the risk of the hazard dice losing you points kind of keeps negotiation involved.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're working on your own, there's still a chance you could lose points.
Right. Or you could risk it and be like, you know what? I might have more value. So how about you and I actually try and to see what the tiebreaker is? And you're like, I have 8 crew cards. They're all worth 5. Oh! I was not paying attention. So, but yeah, that is something for concern if you're... But I don't think any negotiation game keeps negotiation till the end. There's no way if it's especially there's no reason.
Yeah.
Because it's like if it's a competitive game, why would I negotiate?
I mean, there are some because there's some that are just so blind. QE is negotiation, but it's so blind.
Okay, I haven't played QE, so
the chance that you've done enough, like unless you can just keep full calculations in your head. There's no way to know how much people have worth because it's all hidden.
Yeah, isn't QE like the one where you can just bet any number, whatever, and it somehow works? I know the concept of the game, but
ours didn't. I played it once and it didn't work.
Well, it would work. It does work.
I'm very intrigued by that game. It can frustrate
people. So I think why it didn't work for it is because it frustrated people. Actually, what you did would work fine.
Probably.
I did something very similar, and it worked out great. I won the game.
I'm very intrigued by that concept, but it's been in my cart to buy for so long.
So one of the ways it does it is if you have the most debt, you're just out. So whoever bet too much on stuff, so you have to rein it in to a certain extent, kind of figure out what everybody else is doing, and have this flow of it, because one person's just out at the end. And you don't want to be that person that's out. So you can't go too extreme and just like, well, I'm going to do all this. It's like, okay, but then you're just going to lose the game and you're just out. So, so you have to rein it back a little bit. And that's how they do it. That's how they balance out this whole I don't know.
Gotcha.
And it's all more about feeling, some logic, but some feeling in it. That one I feel like they do it because there's just enough blindness for everybody that you can negotiate something and nobody really has enough knowledge to know.
Right.
Where like Cosmic Encounter, everyone knows 95% of all the knowledge in that game.
Yeah. And I feel like with this one, the negotiation is very simple because and that's the other thing is like what you're what's tangible to trade is all on the one card.
Right.
You just take it, and it's like, and everyone can see 9 points is up for bid, 3 points, and then the hazard, and potentially a free card. It's like, okay. Like, and you can also, what's really cool is you can bet, or not bet, you can negotiate, be like, okay, for this one specifically, you say you're going to contribute all the damage, so sure, you can have the 3 points. You know, you're 4 points behind me, you can have the 3 points, I want all the money. I'm going to have you go first. Because you get to choose, and that's also a cool thing, where it's like, I want to see if you bring all the damage to the table. Oh, you didn't? Okay, I'm not going to also contribute, and then that was that.
Right.
I like that. I like how that's one way of backstabbing, but the mission leader is like, all right, step up. Okay, you did play all 6 damage. Yep. Now I'll fulfill my end.
The only thing I can see is by having everybody go before you, you can backstab anyone that went before you. But that's it.
You can, but if you're the mission leader, I don't see a benefit to that, especially if you agree to the terms. Right. If I said, okay, yeah, you'll have 3 points, and then you bring in the 6 damage, why would I be like, never mind.
Right.
Anyway, your turn. It's like, wait a minute, I didn't get anything out of that.
Well, unless you have the Saboteur card.
That's true. You turn it in, and it's like, never mind, but that's all for 1 point.
But that's what I'm trying to think. Like, unless you're losing points because of hazards, I don't know a reason to ever purposely crash a card if you've already agreed to the terms.
No, I agree. But I still like the fact that you get to be like, just to see if anyone's going to try and screw you over. You get to pick and have them see if they can do it. Or the more likely outcome is I need to draw. I can get 6 damage, I only have 5 in my hand, but I need to draw.
Right.
And it's like, okay, let's see if you even draw, because then there's no point for me to do anything if you don't get exactly what we need.
Right, no, that's what I saw. So there's multiple times, like, you know, I kind of just want to go first to just see whether or not I'm drawing the cards, because I have a lot of stuff that's going to potentially get me into it. But if I don't get it, it doesn't matter. And that was like yours, like, you know, because you're like, well, we can't complete. It's like, well, you have 2 cards to draw. You might be able to get the shield and the actual reactor, and you just don't know until you draw them.
That's true.
And the worst, just do it, because if you get it, you got it.
Once you you're committed.
Yeah, you're committed.
It is also odd that all allies also jettison their hand. Mm-hmm. Like, basically everyone restarts. Like, that's kind of unique. It's not just, well, I'll contribute exactly what I said, then just draw up to 5. It's like, nope, everyone resets.
Mm-hmm. Right.
There's just a lot that's actually surprisingly going into this game, not even including any of the expansions. I find it to be kind of a very clean, minimalist game.
Yeah.
Like, I like the art direction.
Icons are very simple. Color scheme.
Yep.
Symbology.
I like the icons.
A little tiny on some of the text, like, especially with the layout. It's like these ship parts. It's like, okay, how much is all that? You know?
I mean, I might be in the minority in this. The art's fine to me.
I like it. I like it. It's like a very schematic like, it feels like sci-fi, but this could literally have been anything.
Yeah.
Like, am I saying it's a thematic sci-fi game? No.
Right.
But in terms of like what they were going for with the art style, I think it is nice.
Yeah, and it's not invasive.
Right.
You can ignore it completely.
Yeah.
But it can enhance. The feel.
You guys got anything else?
You think the storage system's pretty impressive?
It's pretty good with sleeves. Like, they did it in a way where, like, I can actually... No, never mind. They have, like, all the base cards, like, the majority of cards you're going to need for every game in one section, and then they're organized by expansion and icons, so they're able to find, but if you sleeve all your cards, it just looks like a big row of just cards, so whenever it's like, oh shit, what do you need? A damage? Where's the damage?
Oh, they don't have dividers?
No. They have plastic slots, so they're divided that way, but in terms of like being able to read.
But it's the plastic just kind of blends together.
Yeah, it just kind of blends, so you just have to kind of move them around.
Yeah.
It still works, and it fits all the... like the cardboard pieces, very nice.
Right.
So I'm not dissatisfied. It could be a little bit better, but that's also because I chose to sleeve everything.
Right.
And I'll probably do these expansions separately. But on a scale of 1 to 10, what are you guys giving Moonrakers?
7.
7?
Yep.
I'm thinking I'm vacillating between 7 and 8.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say 7 now, but want to play it a few more times. It'll probably be an 8 if it doesn't suddenly seem to wear itself out.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine that, but it's possible.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with a 7, but I think I am going to go up to an 8. But I also really like negotiation.
Yeah.
Like some of like Rising Sun, Cosmic Encounter, those games just are right up my alley.
Yep.
So it gets that extra point because also it's unique. I don't know of a single deck builder that has negotiation.
Yep.
And I mean, you can negotiate in any game, but this is an actual core mechanic.
Right.
You have to negotiate, otherwise you're not winning.
Right.
Because it's the contract deck is also not seeded, so it's not like here are easy contracts, here are harder ones. It's like they could, at the beginning of the game, it's only hazard level 2 and 0, 1, or 2. If you draw 3s or 4s, you shuffle them back into the deck. But after that, it's like it could be 4 hazard, 4 hazard.
Right.
Well, so if you're not trying to negotiate.
Which I think we kind of did, because we got a lot of heavy gun ones. Like, we had quite a few gun ones that were 8, 6, and like 5, and it's like...
Which is another really cool aspect, because it's like, oh, we have a bunch of those contracts out, none of us want to pay to get rid of them, no one, so I'm going to start getting ship parts, because now you're going to want to include me to do all that, which is another... This game gives you enough negotiating power.
Yeah.
Which is why I think I'm giving it that 8.
I can see that.
And the expansions might make it better. So I'm pretty pleased.
Excellent.
All right. Well, that's our thoughts on Moonrakers. Let us know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.